today we're going to be going over what a request is. So I'm just going to read from the top. This is something my class has done in the past. So we are going to try it here online because I noticed a couple mistakes that were first evident in classwork and then again on the quest, which means the mistakes persisted after the corrections. This means we have to take a break and correct those mistakes before we move on. So a couple things I noticed during when I correct your classworks is that I would correct the classwork and then the next day I would see the same mistakes. I would correct that classwork and the next day I would see the same mistakes, which resulted in the same mistakes that were on the quest. So we have to take a timeout and we have to really put emphasis on correcting those mistakes. So your directions today is to watch this very video I'm making right now. Just to let you know, I can see how many students access the video, so I knew that not all of you were using the video resources to complete your tables this week. So please, I'm giving this resource. It's going to help you be successful. Please use the video. With using the video, you're going to complete the following tables with the corrections. What I recommend watching the video, then rewatching the video as you correct the work, just to kind of give you insight. First see it, and then model it as you're watching it. And I'll put a time of when I get into the meat of it so you can start there for your second viewing. So let's look at this. You only had two tables. I'm not going to go over the fun questions. So we have f of x equals 2x plus 3. So in my modeled example, I used -2. So it was f of -2 equals 2 times -2 plus 4. 2 times -2 is -4 plus 4 equals 0. So that gave us 0, 6. So now I'm going to pick up where you guys are going to pick up. F of -1 equals 2 times -1 plus 4. I'm going to show a little more math just to give you guys a heads up. So -2 equals 2. So then I have -1 equals 2. So that means my coordinate pair, which is the x, y, so the x is the input, the y is the output we just solved, is going to be -1, that's the input, 2. Next one, f of 0. The f of 0 is kind of easy. I wonder if you guys noticed. 2 times 0, and parentheses, plus 4. So the 2 times 0 cancels out, so it's going to be 0 plus 4, which equals 4. So that means f of 0, and this is the b, and y equals mx plus b, for those of you who remember, is 4. So that means 0, 4 is my answer. Moving on to f of 1. I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit. This is my OCD kicking in, guys. All right. F of 1 equals 2 times 1 plus 4 equals 2 times 1 is 2 plus 4 equals 6. So my f of 1 equals 6, which means my point generated is 1, 6. And we're going to go over more this week, selecting the graphs that match our functions. Last but not least for this table, we have f of 2 equals 2 times 2 plus 4. Well, 2 times 2 equals 4, plus the 4 equals 8. So f of 2 equals 8. So that means 2, 8 is my point. Switching rules, we have f of x equals -x plus 1. And if you look at my example, I remember that the -x is a 1. For my purposes, I am not going to put the -1 in each time, but I did put this there. So if you were having trouble remembering that negative in front of the x gets a substituted -1 in front of the, gets a -1 in front of the substituted parentheses value, this is here for you. So let's start. We have f of -2 equals -1 times -2 plus 2, which means -1 times -2 is +2 plus 1 equals 3, which is how we got the output 3. So -2, function of -2 equals 3, so -2, 3 is our point. So now we have f of -1 equals negative, and open parentheses, -1 plus 1, plus 1, equals 1 plus 1, because -1, which is represented here, times -1 equals 1. So it's going to be 1 plus 1 equals 2. So this means f of -1 equals 2, which means my point is negative 1, 2. Let's go to 0 now. F of 0 equals negative open parentheses 0, end parentheses, plus 1. Negative 1 times 0 still equals 0, plus 1 equals 1. So f of 0 equals 1. Means my point is 0. Oops, I keep doing the O instead of the 0. 0, 1 is my point. Next one, f of 1 equals negative, open parentheses 1. I'm going to take out that extra comma there, I'm sorry. Plus 1 equals, now a negative plus a negative 1 times a 1 is a negative 1. And then we plus that 1, it's actually going to equal 0. We cancel it out. I have 1 negative and I had 1 positive, cancels out, equals 0. So that means f of 1 equals 0. Which means my point is 1, 0. Oops. Last but not least in this demonstration is f of 2. So we have f of 2, putting it into my second function rule, is negative, open parentheses 2, plus 1, plus 1, as the third time, negative 1 times negative 2, let's try that again. Negative 1 times 2 equals negative 2 plus 1. Negative 2 plus 1 equals negative 1. And we have f of 2 equals negative 1, which means my point is 2, negative 1. And that is it. Any questions, please do not hesitate to comment or email me. This is really what I'm looking for. Again, I cannot stress enough. This is really, I'll show it to you in case it helps you. The negative out here really means a negative 1. And then you would substitute similar to as you did up here. So it would be negative 1 on the in front, the coefficient is represented, and then the parentheses. So that's what this would look like with the negative 1, and then in parentheses, the coefficient x turns into what this is over here. All right, you got this. I look forward to seeing your good work.